So today we'll review writing linear equations. A few days ago we talked about these horizontal and vertical lines and the equations of them. So let's see if you can remember how to find the equation of each of these lines. All right, so the first one, we have the y-intercept. The y-intercept is at 4. What's the b value? Is 4. And the slope is 0. So we can write this equation as y equals 4, slope is 0. This one right here, the y-intercept is -2. And again, the slope is 0. For these vertical lines, all along this line, doesn't matter what point you have, the x value is 3. So we say this line is x equals 3. All along this line right here, x is -1. So the equation of that line would be x equals -1. All right, so today we're going to look at writing equations of lines. Slope-intercept form is y equals, we have mx plus b. You can switch the order, y equals b plus mx. Sometimes, instead of m for slope, sometimes instead of m for slope, they use a. So you can also see it written like this, y equals ax plus b, or y equals b plus ax. But again, whatever's next to the x value, that is your slope. So slope is next to the x. That's what you have to know. Okay, so today we're going to look at these steps for writing the equation of the line. Number 1, can you figure out the slope? Sometimes it's given, sometimes you have to solve. The slope is the number next to the x when y is by itself. Number 2, you're going to figure out the y-intercept. You may have to plug in a point for x and y and solve for b, which is the y-intercept. And 3, once you have the slope and the y-intercept, you can write the equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, so we're going to take a look at that. Example 1, a line passes through 4, -3, and has a slope of 1. Write the equation in slope-intercept form. All right, so I'm going to label these x and y. Whoops. And here's y equals mx plus b. Okay, let's plug in everything that we know. We know the point. We know y is -3 right here. So we have -3 equals. We know the slope is 1. We know the x value is 4 plus b. All right, so we plugged in the slope. We plugged in the point. Y was -3, x is 4. Now we're going to solve for b. So you have -3 equals 4 plus b. To get b by itself, you would subtract 4 from each side. So we get b equals -7. All right, once we have the y-intercept, the last step is write the equation. You put your numbers in for the slope and the y-intercept. So we know our slope was 1, so y equals 1x, or just x, and then the y-intercept's -7. So y equals x minus 7 is the equation of the line. All right, example 2, the line passes through -6, 1. The slope is -4, so let's plug in everything we know. Y, which is 1, equals -4 times x plus b. Let's solve. We get 1 equals 24 plus b. Let's subtract 24 from each side. You get -23 equals b. So we have the slope, we have the y-intercept. Let's rewrite the equation of the line. Y equals -4x minus 23. It says use this equation to find the point if the x-coordinate is 2. All right, here's the equation. And the x-coordinate is 2. We need the y-coordinate. So instead of x, we'll plug in a 2. So we have y equals -8 minus 23. And so if we solve for that, we get y equals -31. So let's write the equation of the line. Y equals -4. Well, actually, we just wanted the y value. Sorry, we're not writing the equation of the line. The point on that line, when x is 2, y would be -31. Okay. Here's the next example. Write the equation of the line. Again, we need two things, slope and y-intercept. The y-intercept looks like it's at -3. To find the slope, I'm going to pick any 2 points and count rise over run. So this goes up 2, notice the scale of the graph, over 2, 4. So our slope is 2 over 4. Oops, 2 over 3. Right, there's your slope. So the equation of the line, y equals, I like to start with my y-intercept first. It was negative 3. It's a positive slope. So we have plus 1/2 x. Another way that you might see that written is y equals negative 3 plus x over 2 is the same as 1/2 x. So you might see it like that as well. Whoops, I'm trying to make this look neater for you. Okay. There we go. Negative 3 plus x over 2. Next example, write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line parallel to this line that passes through this point 1, 7. All right, so first we need the slope of the parallel line. So the slope is the number next to the x when y is by itself. So the slope is 3. Okay, now that we have the slope, we're going to plug that in with your point over here, and we'll solve for the new y-intercept. So we have 7 equals, our slope is 3, the x value is 1, we want b. We're going to solve 7 equals 3 plus b minus 3 from each side. So we get b equals 4. And once we have that, we can write the new equation of the line, y equals 3x plus 4. Okay, last example. A line goes through the point 2, 5 and is perpendicular to this line right here. Find the equation. All right, so perpendicular means it makes a 90-degree angle. If one line's going up, the other line's going down at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so with that in mind, let's find the slope of this line first. So we would add 7 to each side. I would also distribute the 1/2. So you have y equals 1/2 x plus half of 5 is 2.5. And then we have that plus 7 that we added to each side. But this part doesn't really matter. We want the slope. So it's 1/2. And we know that if the slope is 1/2, it goes up 1 over 2, it might look something like this. The perpendicular slope is going to go this way. Going to go down. So we have y equals, going to be negative, and you flip it, 2 over 1, x plus b. Here's the new equation, but we want the y-intercept. So now we can plug in 2 and 5. We have 5 equals negative 2 times 2 plus b. Let's multiply negative 2 and 2, so we get negative 4 plus b. We'll add 4 to each side. We get 9 equals b. Rewrite the equation of the line with the right slope and the right y-intercept. We got y equals negative 2x plus 9. So perpendicular, the slope is the opposite reciprocal of a perpendicular line, and parallel would be the same slope. Okay, so then it just says identify the graph with the following situations. So you'll match these up. I had just left home and I realized I forgot my books, so I went back to pick them up. Oh, and it has the answers right on there, I guess. That's what that 4 is. That's funny that it has the answers on there. Okay, the battery on my electric car started to run down. Okay, we can see that's 3. Things went fine until I had a flat tire. We can see that that's 2. I started out calmly but sped up when I realized I was going to be late. Okay, so I have to cover those answers up before I print the packet. Okay, cover. Okay, that's it for the lesson.